Hello and welcome to this World Cup special here on France 24. It's been a tournament of upsets in Qatar. Just when we thought we were getting over the Saudi Arabia win over Argentina on Tuesday, well, Japan went on to stun Germany 2-1 themselves. To go over all the latest from another rollercoaster day of action, I'm joined in the studio by Eurosport's football guru, Ruben Slachter. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
But first, I just want to go to France 24 reporter Selina Sykes, who had the pleasure of being at the Khalifa Stadium to witness that spectacle, Germany-Japan. Selina, it was going so well for the Mannschaft. Ilkay Gundogan's penalty in the 33rd minute, but then it unraveled. Just take us through the game.
Well, that's right, Jean-Emile. Another day and another upset. Obviously, the Germans are really wanting to forget a catastrophic 2018 World Cup campaign when they crashed out at the group stages. And they really did start off as the far more dominant side at the Khalifa International Stadium. Obviously, getting that penalty early on, as you just mentioned, and that really galvanized them. And they continued to dominate. And then they were just left undone, really, by a very late comeback, thanks to two Japanese super subs and the goalkeeper Gonda as well, obviously making some very big important saves. He's the one who kept them in the game today. Big important saves that kept them in the game. And Douan came on for the Japanese and scored 4 minutes after he came off the bench, putting them at 1 apiece. Asano then scored the second in the 83rd minute, and this was a very bad start for the four-time World Cup champions Germany. They were left absolutely stunned by this later Japanese comeback here today. And, well, their next game, Jean-Emile, is against Spain, who obviously got a very good result today. There'll be a very tough task in front of for the Germans as they finished their group today with 0 points.
Thanks so much, Selina. You say you're talking about Spain there. We'll get back to that, but I just want to talk about the Germans' chances. As Selina mentioned, a very tough game awaits, but do they have the strike force to compete?
Yeah, I think so. They created so many chances today, and they played quite well until that goal. It's strange to say because they lose 2-1 and it's a huge upset, but you can't say that Germany played a bad game. The only thing that's lacking, and that's already for a long time, is a real number 9, which is not, they're not the only team missing a real number 9, but you could see it also today that you're really looking for a player who just puts the ball in the net for the Germans. So that's an issue for them today. I think they also lost because they made some really defending mistakes. Süle and Schlottersbeck, especially on the 2-1, were guilty, to say the least. And even Manuel Neuer wasn't completely
should have done
perfect.
Better at his near post.
Yeah, and also on the first goal, the way he pushes the ball away is not perfect. But maybe Manuel Neuer has been so much time. He has been the best goalkeeper in the world. Then you also expect from him to do better. But you also have to say that normally, if Germany plays this game like 100 times, they win it at least 90. So they were unlucky. The only thing is that if they will now play Spain and if they will lose, they're probably out of the tournament. So that would be really harsh.
Imagine that after just 2 games. Can the Mannschaft pick it up? Well, the talk wasn't just about the match and the football. Ahead of their loss against Japan, the German football team posed with their hands over their mouth in protest after FIFA banned a One Love anti-discrimination armband. That ban was not supposed to extend to fans themselves, but one German supporter claims police tried to threaten him into removing it. Camille Nedelec has more.
In defiance of both FIFA and Qatari authorities, the German football team posed with their hands on their mouths for their pre-match photo ahead of their game against Japan. They had wanted to wear rainbow armbands in support of LGBT rights at their first World Cup match in Qatar, where homosexuality is illegal.
It wasn't about making a political statement. Human rights are non-negotiable. Denying us the armband is the same as denying us a voice. We stand by our position.
Several other European teams, including France and England, had also planned to wear them, up until FIFA announced a ban on Monday and warned European federations that players who disobey face a yellow card. But off the pitch, German Interior Minister Nancy Faeser was defiant.
It's not right how the associations were put under pressure. In this day and age, it's completely incomprehensible that FIFA does not want people to openly stand up for tolerance and against discrimination. That no longer fits in with their times.
But for some ordinary Germans, the experience of wearing an armband during the Senegal-Netherlands match on Monday was quite different.
Several policemen escorted me from my seat and took me to the stadium basement. A circle of around a dozen policemen ordered me to take off my armband. They said, either I'll take your stuff away or I'll take you with me.
Assurances had been made that the Qatar World Cup would be welcome to everyone, despite the country's conservative culture. But just 2 days before the start of the World Cup, beer was banned in most areas, followed by this second ban on armbands, announced just hours before the tournament's first match.
Well, where Germany slipped up, Spain capitalized in Group E with an astonishing 7-0 victory over Costa Rica. It's La Roja's biggest World Cup win, Costa Rica's biggest ever defeat, and a clinical masterclass from Luis Enrique's side, which might just put them in the conversation as World Cup title contenders. For more on the match, though, France 24 sports editor Simon Harding was at the Al Thumama Stadium in Doha, soaking up all the goals.
Perfect, faultless start by Spain, who start their Qatar 2022 campaign with a bang. 7-0, the final score against a very weak Costa Rica, but take nothing away from Luis Enrique's side, who dominated from start to finish. Dani Olmo, Marco Asensio, a brace from Ferran Torres, Gavi, who becomes the youngest goal scorer at a World Cup since Pele, then Carlos Soler, and to wrap it all up, Alvaro Morata. 7-0, Spain's biggest ever win at a World Cup, eclipsing their previous best set in the 1998 campaign against Bulgaria. It all went in Spain's favour, with a team really assembling two generations. The rear guard, which had Aymeric Laporte, Sergio Busquets, Rodri, and the new generation, Pedri, Gavi, Dani Olmo, who all shone at Euro 2020. This time around, it is an opportunity really for the Spanish to get back to winning ways after a disappointing exit in the round of 16 against Russia in 2018. And in terms of what we can say from Costa Rica's point of view, very much a day to forget at the office for the Central Americans. Costa Rica and their captain Keylor Navas completely swept aside. Keylor Navas, who hadn't played at all this season for Paris Saint-Germain, returning to football action since the playoffs to reach the World Cup. Well, it was a very poor day for him. Considering the other results in the group, it's already looking like a decisive match for Spain in their next encounter. That'll be Sunday night against a Germany side beaten by Japan, the Mannschaft, who are going to have to win if they wish to remain in the competition.
Ruben, Simon waxing lyrical about the Spanish setup, but so many young players coming through, but do they have what it takes to win the tournament proper?
It remains to be seen. Simon said it well, I think. Costa Rica was really poor. But okay, we also said that Saudi Arabia would be really poor, and they weren't. So it's still a really impressive performance, and especially because they were also, like Simon said, everybody was involved. There's so much depth in this squad. Also, maybe not a real number 9 like the Germans. A little bit more with a player like Morata, but it's also not really convincing. But yeah, it was until now the best performance we have seen from a team in this World Cup. What we've also said about other teams like England, like France, for example, when there will be real pressure on the defense, how will they react? We don't know for now. The good thing with Spain is they will have a real test coming up against Germany. And for them, because also even if that wouldn't be the ideal result for them, they will probably go through. It will be a really good test going onwards to the next round and maybe a lot further.
That crunch clash against Germany, such a tasty encounter to look forward to. Well, there was, of course, the early kickoff and a truly resilient display from Morocco to hold out the threat of Luka Modric and Croatia, with that game finishing 0-0. The 2018 runners-up tried all they could to get past the Atlas Lions defense, but coach Walid Regragui, who was only hired at the end of August, managed to tactically squeeze out an important point. And, of course, to end the day's proceedings. Belgium played Canada at the Ahmed bin Ali Stadium in Al Rayyan. The score ended 1-0 to the Red Devils after Michy Batshuayi's strike late into the first half stoppage time. But could have been so different had Alphonso Davies scored his penalty for Canada in the first half. Selina, you followed this Belgium team quite extensively, and I have to ask, were the supporters' hearts in their mouths for much of the game? The Canada attack was fantastic.
I mean, I would safely say that Belgian fans were on the edge of their seats. It wasn't an easy game to watch, and obviously no beer here in the stadium to calm the Belgians' nerves. It wasn't an inspiring performance from the 2018 World Cup semi-finalists. It was the Canadians who looked far more threatening and energetic, and obviously they came so close to getting the first goal. They were awarded a penalty earlier on, as you said, but Davies not really making a good chance of that. It was a shot lacking any power, and obviously with a world-class keeper Thibaut Courtois saving it very easily. And there were a lot of concerns going into this tournament over the Belgian defence, with Toby Alderweireld and Jan Vertonghen looking long beyond their heydays at Tottenham, and that was really in evidence this evening with this very young, fast Canadian side running rings around them at times. The Belgians were very lucky, really, that the Canadians failed to be more clinical in front of goal. And as you said, it was the Belgians who undid the Canadians just ahead of half-time. They were very lucky to do so, with Michy Batshuayi getting on the end of a long ball from Toby Alderweireld to put the Belgians ahead. They got the job done here today. They got the 3 points, though it wasn't a performance worthy of their second world ranking. And I think many Belgian fans, it's obviously a very hard label for this Belgian team to have carried since 2018, the golden generation label, which so many teams are very apprehensive about holding this kind of label. And many Belgian fans will be wondering whether that ship has indeed sailed for the Red Devils.
Just a quick one on that golden generation that Selina mentions. Do you think it's over?
It remains to be seen, but it will be really hard for them to go even to the semi-finals like they did in 2018. We saw it already tonight. They still have the world class with especially Thibaut Courtois and Kevin De Bruyne. Kevin De Bruyne not being that exceptional tonight, but Thibaut Courtois decisive again. It was just, you could just see, like Selina said really well, it's energetic Canada, but just lacking that little bit of extra to score a goal tonight. It's now the next matches against Croatia, against Morocco will be already interesting for them. Again, two really good opponents. And then the next round, it will be probably a team from the group of Germany and Spain. So will they go really far? I strongly doubt it. But okay, they won their first match, and there's a lot of other favorites who can't say that. So yeah, it's. I think they will be really happy just with the result, and it can only get better on the pitch, I think.
And you never know with Kevin De Bruyne in midfield what a team is capable of doing. True. Well, there is also a host of great fixtures to look forward to tomorrow. Mouth-watering clashes, including Switzerland kicking off things early in the game against Rigobert Song's Cameroon. Then can Dark Horses Uruguay claim a stake by beating a well-disciplined South Korean outfit in Group H? The third matchup of the evening sees Portugal's star-studded attack line up against 2010 quarter-finalists Ghana, and then rounding things off Brazil, who many have tipped to win the tournament outright. Well, they'll be keen to show their samba style against the stubborn Serbian outfit to round off Group G. A quick one, Ruben, to round off. What game are you looking forward to most?
Brazil-Serbia. That will be a cracker. I really hope that Serbia will do what they can do, because I think that Serbia has one of the best attacks in this tournament, and Brazil as well, of course. If they both will play to their potential, I think this can be the best game of the whole tournament. So let's hope for it.
That's a bold claim.
Yeah, I hope you won't call me back tomorrow after a 0-0 without any chances. But I really, really think that this can be something really spectacular.
Well, we will be here for the end of those matches, all those results. We are going to look forward to many great games. But that's all we have for this World Cup special. But there is plenty coming up here on France 24. It's bye for now.